Tickets, $50. Hat, $25. Jersey, $40. The Detroit Tigers, priceless. David Priceless, that is. How's everyone doing? I'm Nick Buckler. With me, as always, Dan Myers. Welcome to another edition of The Wrap-Up. And Dan, it was trade deadline this past week, and as you just heard from that lovely one-liner, Tigers no longer have ace pitcher David Price.
No, they don't. I think they blew a lot of people's minds this week. A lot of people were talking about getting rid of those three big guys, and they did. I really, honestly didn't think they were going to get rid of all of them, but they pulled the trigger. So there's some serious mentality going on over there.
Yeah, there definitely is, and the blockbuster deal was the David Price trade, and Tigers give up left-handed pitcher David Price. In exchange, they get three left-handed pitchers, and the biggest one, Daniel Norris. He lives in a van down by the river. He shaves with an axe, and he pitched Sunday. 22 years old. He's been up and down between AAA and the majors. Major leagues, he was 1-1 with a 3.86 ERA. Limited work. He struggled with his command. But Sunday for the Tigers in his debut, he goes 7 1/3, only throws 84 pitches, 5 strikeouts, only 4 hits, 1 walk. And for a guy who they say struggles with his command a little bit, to only walk one guy against a big league lineup is huge. And hopefully it's a sign of good things to come for the Tigers. And I was really actually happy to see them go ahead and execute this trade. We knew Price was not coming back, and you could kind of read between the lines that he did not want to be here. He didn't waste any time putting that Blue Jays hat on. I think it was, even when the rumors were, he had the old T on his hat, and he was biking on out of Camden Yards in Baltimore, headed north, where he got a flat tire, haha. And, well, I really liked the trade. A lot of people I see on Facebook and social media are ripping Dombrowski. Tigers throwing in the towel. Really, people, let's get real. Tigers are not a good team this year. Sure, they've had injuries, but they're just not consistent. The starting pitching's brutal. You have to trade away the pieces if you want to build for the future. And that's something that we as Tiger fans aren't used to, as we've been buyers every year. And selling was the right thing to do, rebuild the farm system a little bit. They also acquired Matt Boyd and Yaro Labourt in that trade. And people don't know so much about Yaro, but Matt Boyd started on Sunday for AAA Toledo. He was on a pitch count, so he only threw 40 pitches. That only was good for 2 innings. He walked 3 guys in the first inning. He doesn't give up a hit though. 1 strikeout, but 3 walks. I guess we'll see that start really. He was on a pitch count. We'll have to wait and see what he can do. But these guys are prospects. You didn't get the established guy in any of the trades the Tigers executed. And I do think Norris has potential to be an elite pitcher, but I guess we won't know that for a couple of years. He's probably going to work himself into the rotation the rest of this year, as well as next year, depending on what Dombrowski, if he stays, decides to do in free agency.
Yeah, absolutely. And what a great pickup. I'm really excited. Granted, it's only been 1 game, but it could have gone a lot worse. And I thought it was great. It was a great pickup. I like the guy. He's great. He's humble. He's got a strong curve, fastball and changeup. He does have some trouble with the left-handers, but nobody's perfect. But just reading about him, watching interviews with him, I thought it was a great pickup. He's very humble, very modest, and I think that's great for a pitcher like that. And on and off the field, he's got his stuff together. He only allows himself $800 a week. The rest of the money is being sent. I mean, that just shows smarts and a guy that knows what he's doing. So that was an awesome pickup. And it was entertaining to watch. I mean, he seemed very confident for like his first start like that. It was just, he knew what he was doing. You could just see like in his eyes that he was ready to go, and he was strong. He was zoned in. So that's a great pickup. I'm really excited to watch this guy mature and establish himself in the organization. Hopefully we hold on to him and he'll get us out of this rut. And as far as people writing the season off, we're really not that far away. I mean, yes, this wild card race, 3 or 4 games out, but it's not a total pipe dream to think that we can't go to the postseason. So we'll see. 1 game at a time. I think that's the problem, is we already expected to go to the postseason as soon as the first pitch was thrown out opening day. So we'll see how that goes. I'm just going to take it 1 day at a time, 1 game at a time, and hopefully we can turn it into something promising. If not, hey, we got some hope for the future.
The next move the Tigers made was Joakim Soria was dealt to the Pittsburgh Pirates. In return, they get 1 AA player. an infield outfielder by the name of Jacoby Jones. No, not the Baltimore Ravens return man. This is a baseball player in his first game with the Erie Seawolves, Double-A affiliate for the Tigers. He goes deep 3 times yesterday. He goes 3 for 4, 3 homers and 5 RBIs. I'm not saying this kid's going to be the next Barry Bonds minus steroids, but hey, you never know, because Soria, if he were to sign, he would have to sign a qualifying offer. The qualifying offer on Joakim Soria, $16 million. No, he was going to test the waters anyway. Could we get him back? Sure. Do we want him back? Probably not. But get something for him. Who cares if it's a bag of balls, something. You can't let him just leave because, let's be honest, he was subpar average this year, and I think getting anything at all was promising. Jacoby Jones played his college ball at West Virginia, and his only season there, he hit 26 homers, had 67 RBIs, and 27 stolen bases. That's power from an infield position that the Tigers aren't used to. And obviously he's not going to play at least for the next 3 years because they have that potent up-the-middle combination with Ian Kinsler and Jose Iglesias. But he can sprinkle him around the outfield. He can play a little third base. You never know. I like that pickup as well. The other trade, obviously, Yoenis Cespedes to the Mets in exchange for Michael Fulmer and Luis Kessa. And Fulmer went to Double-A. He's going to start Tuesday. They say that kid's going to be ready very soon to be a starting pitcher in the majors.
Yeah, that's huge. And the Mets, believe it or not, they're really not that bad of an organization. So for us to pick them up, I don't know. I see a lot of potential there. But that's just me. I'm getting dirty looks from the other side of the table. But
well,
I don't.
Yeah.
We'll see how that goes. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid already. But I'm very optimistic with this pickup that we got.
Again, fans, just irritating. Uneducated, they say, minor leaguers, they're bad. Okay, folks, let me tell you something right now. You're not going to get David Price, expiring contract, most likely a 2-month rental. What if you're the Toronto Blue Jays, what are you willing to give up? Oh, if we don't get Jose Bautista, it's a failed trade. Come on, folks. Are you kidding me? It's irritating. What do you want? What do you want? We want Hank Greenberg to come back from the grave and to lead us to the World Cup. All right, A, the World Cup soccer. B, Hank Greenberg's dead, isn't he? And it's just they expect the world. And anything less is a failure. Soria, okay, maybe that was the worst trade of them all, but Soria's a guy who's going to pitch 1 inning. A, he's not even going to close there. They have Mark Melancon. They have Watson and other guys in that bullpen. Soria did get a save yesterday, but he's not going to be their closer. And really, what are you willing to give up for a guy who's going to pitch like 20 innings for the rest of the year, not even in high-impact situations? And then the Cespedes deal, another expiring contract. We're likely to get him back anyways. And what? You're getting top-quality prospects, and people, it's not good enough. It's not good enough. This team is done. Come on, folks. Get with the program. It's a business. You want to build for the future. I'm going to switch gears to hockey. We're going to talk about the Chicago Blackhawks. They were horrible for what, 4, 5, 6, 10, 15 years. And they just built up draft picks, got young prospects, young talent in trades when they traded away their big guys like, what was it, like Tony Amonte and stuff like that,
yeah.
and Esposito, the guys that they trade away, and then they turn that into Patrick Kane, Jonathan Taves. They pick up Brent Seabrook, Duncan Keith, and they made themselves a dynasty, if you will, in the NHL. Okay, you're not going to go undefeated for the rest of the year, Tiger fans. And frankly, you need to wrap your head around the chances of not making the playoffs this year. Although it's only 3.5 games back, your better players are gone. Sure, Cabrera is going to be back in about 10 days, but accept the business side of it. Good business by Dave Dombrowski. I've given him some flack in the past. I liked what he did. You liked what he did. Carry on, my wayward son.
All right. Yeah, I like what he did. And we've been concentrating on too many big players as of late. And when the ship starts hitting the storm and we don't have a minor league to relieve that.
No, none.
That's where we have to start. And it's not going to be fun. It's not going to be immediate. We're not going to have immediate turnaround. So we need to start building from the foundation up, and that's exactly what he did. And he picked up some pitchers that are going to be, I mean, and we got Daniel Norris, which is very exciting also. So, it's not going to be immediate. It's not. And I think people want immediacy, and to rebuild like something like this, you have to start, and it's going to be very slow. So you're going to hear a lot more of outcries, unfortunately.
I do think, though, that the Tigers have a chance in 2016. They're not far away. They still have Anibal Sanchez, who I think is on the bricks of turning it around. Alfredo Simon is likely to be gone after this year. He's the worst. Avila likely to be gone. He also would have to sign a $16 million qualifying offer, which frankly is not worth $16. And who else is gone? There's going to be a list of guys. Rajay is going to be a free agent. They're going to likely sign Cespedes. I think he will come back. And they're going to need to bolster guys in the bullpen. They're going to need to sign maybe another number 2, 3 starter. And just because you can't have guys like Buck Farmer starting, Kyle Ryan, Mutton Chop starting. You just can't have these guys on the hill. Shane Green, that guy has just been an implosion of horror for Tiger fans, Tiger players. Other teams love him. Tigers hate him.
Yeah. What a disappointment that was. Yeah, like I said before, he was really exciting. He showed a lot of promise, and obviously, we know how that's going right now. So.
Oh yeah, but hey, a positive note: Ian Kinsler's got his average up to 297, and really that's good because he's kind of, when Torrey Hunter left, he wrapped his head around being the new catalyst of the offense and the leader on and off the field. And to this point, I don't think he's done a good job, but he's really, in this last series, he went 12 out of 16, and he's just ripping the cover off the ball, hitting it to all fields with a little bit of pop in his bat. And that's good to see from a guy that you're going to put up at the top of the order to try to get ducks on the pond for your big guys.
Yeah, absolutely. And another one that stepped up, especially Sunday, was Ghost. The way he was going, I thought that was great. It's good to see him ignite his system going. So, yeah, we need big guys like that. And not, like we've always said, our main carriers that we can't depend on them, and we need those smaller guys to show up, and hopefully they will.
Before Sunday, about Anthony Ghost, he was 2 for his prior 34 at bats, and he's starting to hit the ball hard. And really, the Tigers need him to come up and get on base, steal some bases, because that's when he's at his best. He stole second and then goes back and steals third on the very next pitch. That's what you need to kind of get the team jumping, get guys in motion, start shooting the gaps, shooting through the shifts that teams are putting on. And they called up Tyler Collins when Cespedes went away. I like him on the left side. He's got some pop in his bat. He can play the outfield. He can play some first. I like the kid.
Yeah, he seems great. Another thing that really worries me too is how do we handle the Dave Dombrowski situation? It's been pretty quiet. Does he stay or does he go?
There's rumors he's going to Toronto. I'm not sure if I buy it. I do think his number one would be to stay here, his number one option. But as we saw from the Babcock, as we saw from the Ndamukong Suh, you never know. They could end up anywhere. And I really won't be too hurt if Dombrowski decides to leave. But at the same time, I do like what he just did, and he's growing on me a little bit. He has made some great moves in the past. He's made some bonehead moves in the past. But I really, it's up in the air. I think he's 80% leaning towards staying. That is if Ilitch wants him back. But I think he's going to be back up in that front office again next year, hopefully minus Al Avila.
That'd be great, but,
well,
we'll see.
At least his son. Alex Avila has dropped his batting average to 171. He's been ice cold. He's been playing first base. They haven't even had him back behind the dish because they need the bat of James McCann in the lineup. The guy's too good right now. He's up to 287. He's hitting with power. And they call him James McCann for a reason. He's gunning guys out. He's managing the pitching staff well. He's not getting as many shakeoffs from pitchers. And he's been a real big bright spot for the Tigers.
Yeah, absolutely. And another thing that I want to maybe throw into the mix is maybe what's wrong with having Vimar actually come in and play first base? Does Alex Avila really have to play first base? I mean,
they need his bat. They need that left-handed bat. Apparently, that's what their excuse is. At least Brad Ausmus says he needs the left-hander in there.
Is he that hurt though? That
Avila, I heard something yesterday. I saw a meme. Who bats after Alex Avila? The other team. I like that a lot. It's very true. And that 5 times that happened yesterday. Alex Avila 0 for 5 in the game. Drops his average to 171, but hey, we need his bat in the lineup. It balances it out. Checks and balances. Check swing. Strike 3 call. Davila down on strikes. JD hits home run number 29 yesterday to left center field, and JD just keeps racking. When he's up to bat, you just feel like he could hit a home run, even if he looks stupid on 2 pitches, swings and misses, and then he could still run into one.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got that strong mentality that he just doesn't quit. And, just when you're ready to turn on him, he goes and, either slams one out of the park or just makes an incredible double or triple. So that's huge.
Yeah, and a guy who's been imported back into the lineup a little bit since the trade of Yoenis Cespedes is Rajai Davis. And he comes into the game yesterday, steals a base. And actually, the whole weekend series, Rajai was a bright spot for the team. 2 doubles, a triple, few hits. And he really got the offense jump-started when he was leading off. Him and Ghost at 9-1 really cause havoc when they're back-to-back like that in the lineup for opposing pitchers. And it showed this whole weekend in Baltimore. Although on Friday night the team gets 16 hits and loses the game, that was pitching 100%. But it was good to see the offense back on track and get some hits. And now it's just a matter of the bullpen fixing themselves. And I don't know how I feel about them moving Alex Wilson to the closer. He was a great long reliever who could give you 3-4 innings, and now they're just going to say, you know what, now we don't have one of those guys because we're making him our closer. Sure, he deserves the closing job. He's been our best pitcher in the bullpen. But who's going to fill his void?
Absolutely.
Jose Valdez? Neftali Feliz? His ERA is 100. Neftali Feliz, his numbers, Friday, he entered the game and had his numbers up, and I saw ERA 8.39, opposing batting average 519. Your grandma could poke one on him. It's sick. It's sickening, really. But hey, he was a great pickup, right? Am I right? Am I right?
Unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, the bullpen is still a question mark, and Rondon's ERA is still about 7. Blaine Hardy's been all right, but he's been overused, so he's probably fatigued. Albuquerque, you still can't trust him. He throws too many balls. He's wild. But when he's on, he's on. He's got a great power fastball and a good slider. But command has always been a problem for Al Albuquerque. Enough about the depressing bullpen. Cabrera's ahead of schedule and coming back. They're expecting him back 7 to 10 days. He's been traveling with the team, taking swings, taking ground balls. Ahead of schedule. When do you expect to see him back?
Yeah, hopefully sooner than later. But, as I said last week, I don't want him to rush anything. He's a key player, and we don't need him being hurt for the next 4 or 5 seasons up until whenever he unfortunately decides to retire. But just get it back, get strong, and I'd like to see him back in at least 5 to 7 days or 5 to 7 games.
Yeah, so. I would love to see that. He's the best hitter in the game, and I don't fans. I know you're listening. You, yeah, Don't expect him to come back and hit 5 homers his first game. Oh, why'd you bring him off the DL? Oh, this team, Ausmus. Oh, Dombrowski. Oh, come on, friends. Come on, eh?
Yeah.
He's just missed like 2 months.
Yeah, and he's been playing hurt on top of that.
Yeah, they're going to expect too much. They're going to call for his head. It's going to be bad. Another thing that was bad that happened in the game of baseball, on a serious note, a team in Kansas called the Liberal BJs. Yes, that's their team name. Their bat boy, 9 years old, gets hit in the head with a swing, and he ended up dying. So that's just, you just got to keep your heads up and keep chugging along. It's really sad to see, but at the same time, I don't know who was in the wrong. The player, did he see him? Did the bat boy? I don't know what happened, but it's still a sad story to report in the game of baseball, and we need to stop being depressing on the show. Ronda Rousey, great story from the weekend. Hopefully no one wasted $60 on this fight, although anything Ronda Rousey's on, I'll spend money. I don't care. She's great. Ronda Rousey. She knocks out Correa, the Brazilian, who was running her mouth all week in the little face-to-face weigh-in. She was like screaming. Rousey was just giving her the look. And 34 seconds later, Correa was on her back, TKO'd. Ronda Rousey improves to 11-0. And in those 11 fights, she has 7 world titles, many championship belts, and a total of 24 minutes in the ring. in 11 fights.
She's incredible.
Is she, Dan Myers, the most dominating athlete of all time?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, at least female for now.
Of all time, though.
Of all time, that's
dominating. Absolutely.
She's. I don't think I
around.
don't want to tell her that to her face. I'm sure you could.
I'd tell her that.
But she is incredible. That weigh-in, just watching her was just her eyes. She was so deadlocked. That was probably one of the scariest things I've ever seen. The most intense look on her face going into that fight. And I was listening to a lot of promotional interviews she was doing. I was watching, the pre-fight show, and it was just incredible to see the amount of just focus she has. And I started reading excerpts for her book, and she's just a beast. I mean, just her regimen before, after. I guess she's just focused in she said the 2 weeks up to the fight, right before the fight, just stay away from her. She's that tuned in, and she just doesn't, she's not a nice person to be around, which, if you're going after somebody and someone's coming after you, I don't think I'd want to,
No, I would not intervene, no.
So, yeah, it was incredible. And where do you go from here? She's just dominating that sport. Dana White said she's the greatest thing to happen to that sport. And it's, she's selling tickets. She's got herself out there. She's marketing herself. She's doing everything right. She's everywhere. I don't know how she has time to train for a fight, whether she's doing movies, she's doing commercials, guest spots, and the charity work that she does is just unparalleled too. It's great. So to see someone that strong and be out there so much, like, when do you have time to sleep and still be that successful? So she's incredible to watch. I'm a total fan. I've been on board for a little bit, and it's just great to see her actually getting her dues now. So that's great.
Yeah, I'll fangirl pretty hard to Ronda Rousey. Ronda, I know you're watching. But in other news, we're going to turn the tables to the Deflategate scandal. I know this has worn out its welcome anywhere. We're going to talk about it because the 4-game suspension is upheld for Tom Brady. And again, this is a black eye to the NFL. It was just poor handling by Roger Goodell and the NFL. You have these guys that are beating their wives, beating their kids, beating people up at nightclubs, just domestic violence left and right. And then a guy who might have known that the balls were getting deflated. Might have known. No proof, no evidence. But hey, let's suspend him 4 games when those guys are getting a game, reinstated, getting their fine, just turned into a fine. The NFL has turned into a joke to me, an absolute sick joke.
It really has, and the fact that no, New England's not. They don't have clean hands here. It's not the best thing to do. All right, but for something so minimal that has a least likely affect your market, your brand, the organization, the sport overall. Yet, on the other hand, you have players, like Nick said, injuring their wives, injuring animals, injuring people, just not being the face. If I own an organization, I wouldn't want them to be the face of. Yet, here's something where actually the NFL should be in charge about this too. I mean, if anybody should be penalized also, it's the NFL themselves, as far as these are game balls, all right?
They let it happen.
You let this happen.
It happened under your watch.
Yeah. And they're changing the new rules that they have. Like, that's really going to fix anything. If somebody wants to do something with the balls, they're going to have a chance to. They're not going to be under lock and key all 24 hours, 7 days a week. So, shame on the NFL for doing that. It probably comes off that I'm a Michigan slappy or a Tom Brady slappy. No, I mean, step outside the box and just look at it for what it is. It's a stupid punishment. I think it's been blown way out of control. Had this happened to somebody else, I don't think it would have been that big of a deal. But unfortunately, this is what's going on, and I wish they would have handled it differently, especially just with all the negativity that comes along with the NFL as far as the off-field activities as of late. These past 2 years have just been a total thunderstorm for the league, and for them to make a big deal about this when there's actual issues that need to be taken care of, I think is just embarrassing on the whole organization together.
It really is. You couldn't have said it better. And maybe next week we'll have something better to report on than a lot of the depression that we've reported on today. For Dan Myers, I'm Nick Buckler. Thanks for watching another edition of The Wrap-Up.